Good afternoon, everyone. Today we have various stories ranging from China ending its one-child policy, inspirational speakers here at UNLV, to sex offenders on Halloween.
Also, we'll have an interview later on in the show with a UNLV dance professor / entrepreneur and her interesting past as a Las Vegas showgirl. You're watching Studio G, and it starts right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Studio G. I'm Eddie Vargas.
And I'm Jordan Lorenzo.
China's Communist Party brought an end to the decade-old one-child policy today, allowing all married couples to have 2 children. The announcement came after a 4-day Central Committee meeting in a hotel in western Beijing, where the committee approved proposals for China's next 5-year development plan. In a summary given after the meeting in Beijing, the reasons for the lift on the one-child policy was to improve the demographic development strategy. The original reason for the one-child policy was to reduce China's population in the 1970s due to a steep rise in population at the time, though not given as an official reason for the lift on the 36-year-old policy, but it is also supposed to reduce the level of abortions in China. It has also seen as replenishing the labor force. Because of the low birth rates, there has been worrying that the aging population outnumbers the younger generation to replace them. This amendment may not be a fix-all for China's declining birth rates, with millions of couples finding that the cost of raising a child has become more expensive. Many couples are now finding it more economical to just have one child.
It may shock you when we tell you that Ivy League schools are already combining donuts and doctorates, but UNLV has recently joined the trend. The second installment of Professors and Pastries was held at the Student Union on Tuesday.
Professors and Pastries Forum here at UNLV.
Harvard, Boston College, like all these Ivy League schools do professors and pastries. So it's not like a new thing, it's something that they created. So I started to approach some of the local venues in town and seeing if they wanted to donate some of the pastries, and they're more than happy to do it. We had one of our student designers create a logo for us, and we just ran with it. We kind of made it a little different where we turned it into a speaker series. We have the pastries afterwards, so and then they can mingle. Students and professors are still here talking, which is awesome.
And I think it contributes to our Tier 1 initiatives and the top tier initiative that this university is pursuing.
That makes me feel like my job is impactful and that people really are connecting to me, which is what I enjoy doing, and I enjoy teaching. I enjoy having a relationship with my students. So I feel really good about that.
Knowing that she has her hands in all different, aspects, I don't necessarily have to narrow, if I have multiple passions, I can kind of facilitate myself to be, to work on all those passions. She had me laughing, and I think it's because I probably would relate to her personality more.
Right? If you want someone to speak to students, it would be someone who can kind of like relate to everybody, like show everybody like, well, if you like this and you like this, like you can do that, or you can do both, or you can do neither of them and do something else.
I can give you my experience, and hopefully that helps you. It may or may not, but I've seen in many cases, a lot of times, some people just need to hear that they weren't going through this alone, that they weren't the only ones experiencing this, and that's one of the things that I enjoyed most about it, is that people really said that they appreciated that I was being candid and being honest with them, and I said that's because like I am just like you, have been in your shoes before.
So the next one will be November 19th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. as well.
In the same room, we always have 2 new professors that are nominated by the students.
You heard it here first. The next event is in November, and students get to pick the professors they'd like to hear from. For Studio G, I'm Jordan Lorenzo.
Professors and Pastries is an inspirational speaker series where professors share their ideas and passions with UNLV undergraduate students.
The UNLV chapter of Engineers Without Borders recently hosted their biannual bowling tournament to raise money for sustainable sanitation in Nicaragua. Reporter Taylor Carter has a story.
So this is our Engineers Without Borders USA bowling tournament, and we hold this event twice a year. And it's basically students and professionals in the engineering field, and any of their friends and family are welcome to join us. And we hold this event for fundraising for our trips to Nicaragua. So the main goal of this event is to, one, raise awareness for our project. It lets other people know of what we're doing in Nicaragua, but the main driver for these events is to do fundraising for our project in Nicaragua. So all of the funds that we raise for our project go into our general EWB USA account, and this money is in turn used to help families in Nicaragua. There are 40 families affected, and we are constructing 40 latrines to help improve their lives and improve their ways of life.
Yeah, Engineers Without Borders really focuses on community development. We're not really a charity. We're not there to give them something. We're there to help them build up their capacity to, in the future, sustainably meet these basic human needs that they can't meet at the moment. While we were there, we were mainly working with the construction crews down there. So it was a lot of working alongside the construction crews, doing a lot of manual labor, and kind of just guiding them and teaching them the whole process of how to build these latrines. Bowling is something that everybody loves, so it's a lot of fun, and it's kind of something that's all ages, so everyone's always welcome to come. As far as fundraisers go, that's really the one thing that we need to finish our project is just more funds.
I feel like when there's more events and such, people are more willing to come than to just donate money, because we are offering stuff, we are offering souvenirs, prizes, and etc. So like I would come, you know, if I wasn't part of Engineers Without Borders, I would come and enjoy the bowling and be able to like help it, because it's actually for a good cause as well. So the more fundraisers we do like this, the better it will be for Engineers Without Borders.
For more event information about Engineers Without Borders, you can visit their website at ewblv.org.
We'll have more stories coming up after the break.
You don't get to do an internship, you have to do an internship. It's one of the requirements for a journalism major. You have to do an internship before you can graduate.
Definitely having an internship as a requirement really helps push yourself out there and to just remind you that your graduation is coming up soon. You're going to have to need some work experience in your career. So it's really good to put yourself out there early on, and they tend to help students a lot more. So when you do a student internship, it really helps out a lot.
Metropolis is a 30-minute show that airs every Tuesday evening at 91.5. You're going to hear Dr. Gary Larson along with our regular contributors talking about what matters to our community. And not only what matters, but why does it matter? We look at our community as a whole, but we also pay special attention to what's happening here at UNLV, because that's our home as well. So looking at our Metropolis through the lens of a radio show really gives us the unique perspective to tell a story through words and through people, and I think it makes for a great program.
Sunday evening jazz. I mainly play a lot of contemporary jazz music from the 1960s up until about 2012, 2013. When I go on, just explain who it was, the name of the song, the name of the artist, maybe the name of the album, their career. I just hope that everybody enjoys it and appreciate it for the kind of music it is and how great it is. My name is Sam, and I host Sunday Evening Jazz on the rebelhd2.com.
Too much hair. Sometimes choosing a major can be a big decision, but with the right interest and passion, you can find a career that you love. Managing partner of POPT, Oliver Morawati, talks on college education.
And that's the beauty of getting a college education. You can do whatever you want.
Getting involved in researching majors is an essential step forward to a future of success. Learn about what you can do with your major and meet people with similar interests.
Go out, network with people, meet mentors, see what they're doing. If it interests you, do that. Don't just jump into something because someone else is telling you to do it. Find out about it, work in the industry a little bit, and kind of learn.
According to Business Insider, the top-paying college major is petroleum engineering, starting at $102,000 for the median starting pay.
Dr. Amy Green is an English professor here at UNLV, but she has another love, and that's video games and the stories that they tell. Reporter Sally Ann Figueroa has a scoop.
Dr. Amy Green gave a lecture at the Marjorie Barrick Museum about storytelling in gaming.
The media would have you believe that most gamers are shallow, sort of antisocial people, and that's not true. A lot of gamers are not happy when they pay all of this money for a game and there's no story. They want interactivity and they want content. And I think as a part of that, the idea of choice as an issue, players really want to have an opportunity to consider who they might be in a virtual world.
According to Green, players don't just want things thrown together without any sense of cohesion.
Would I be exactly who I am now and just find the closest representation, or would I say, you know what, I can have wings and fly, or I can have purple skin, or I can be a man, and why? And I think that's a complicated psychological question, but I think it's so fascinating.
You can experience things in a gaming world that you can't experience in real life,
After Dr. Green's lecture, Mario Izzo started thinking about who he would create himself to be in a video game storyline.
Being like a rock star and going on tour with like a band and, I don't know, like starting out little, playing clubs and moving up to playing bigger venues and then being like a pro and then, I don't know, like probably a rock star life. That's what I would do,
The details of the lives and the people in a particular game's world all add to the depth of the story it tells.
There are people for whom those characters are as powerfully important as the communities that have fans, that are fans of particular characters or particular movies or particular literary characters. It is very much the same.
From Studio G, I'm Sally Ann Ficarata.
Some people might think video games are merely about the movies and actions of the characters, but Dr. Green wants people to see it's about the stories they tell. Coming up after the break, we'll have an interview with UNLV professor and former Las Vegas showgirl Dolly. Stay tuned, Studio G.
More of the Music Mondays. Rap, hip-hop, R&B too. I like to play like any new upcoming music, new albums, new mixtapes. I like to open up with maybe kind of like a hype song that gives people energy. Just play any type of good music and then give people like a rundown what's going on currently in hip-hop. Just good vibes, good music. A lot of radio stations don't keep up with playing good music. So that's really the goal. This is Jalen Young on More Than Music Mondays. Check me out on the Rebel HD2.
Ever wonder what makes us, the Smurfs, so happy? The forest, of course. This is where we, along with the beautiful forest creatures, make our home with beautiful plant life, clean water, and endless adventures. It's a place to celebrate. So discover the forest with your family today. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Oh, the station's great. You make friends, you gain skills, you learn how to do all this stuff with audio. It's a fantastic thing.
I can grow with everyone and everybody supports me as well as I can support them.
I think it's great. I think it's a blessing to have this kind of equipment from the Green Spawn family as well as the state of Nevada.
And it's really informative to see, how a radio show really works.
Now that I do it, I have friends, I have people that want to hang out, and I get to play music a lot.
It's very good too because we have all the top of the line equipment to work with and students here that can help you out. So it's a very, very good way to get involved in the radio.
Whatever. Welcome back to Studio G. Today I'm celebrating our Halloween edition at UNLV with Professor Dolly Kellepez, who was a glamorous Las Vegas showgirl and now runs successful Pilates studios worldwide. Thank you so much for coming in with us today.
Thank you for asking me to be here.
So you moved to Las Vegas when you were 19 years old. What gave you the inspiration? Where are you from?
I'm originally from Los Angeles, more like the Orange County area. And I came here because everybody in LA, when I was dancing, said, "You're so tall, you should go to Vegas." I worked for Disney. They were like, "You're great, but you're so tall, you should go to Vegas." My ballet teacher, my jazz teacher, should go to Vegas. I was like, gosh, I guess I should go to Vegas.
Wow.
So I came to Vegas.
And you started dancing when you were how old?
About 5, yeah. Wow. My mom got me involved in dancing. I was very shy, and I was hiding behind her dress going, "No, Mommy, no." And she's like, "Yes, she'd love to." And she kind of shoved me out there. And she didn't know what she was starting when she did that. I've never done anything but dance or have something to do with body mechanics and movement.
And you never looked back.
No, never actually. I'm so happy. That's why I always try to tell my students here on campus that your passion is the most important thing that you need to follow.
Right,
There's
so-
no second thing to have a backup plan. It's not about that. It's just another plan. Because if you have a passion, follow your passion.
So we'll kind of go into how you were a showgirl here in Las Vegas, but you do teach at UNLV.
Right.
You teach a sex education class along with ballet and
Pilates.
Pilates.
Yeah, so the Pilates class is really great now because it's a minor and a certificate program. So it's a brand new program that's inside of the dance department. And I'm really proud. It took quite a long time to get it developed, but it's here now. And so I want everybody to know that it's out there and that they can either be a minor or get a certificate in Pilates. It's a good business to get into, especially for dancers, because you never know, as a singer, as an entertainer, you don't know when you're going to work and when you're not going to work. So it's a great thing to have to make money.
So
just in
anyone
case.
can sign up, including myself.
Yes,
so how can
right.
how can I get enrolled?
It's under the dance department, so it's Dance 108. And the sex dance and entertainment class is Dance 103. So either one of those are a good bet to having a good time.
Right, we have some students in this class who are part of that class. They love it.
I was at Channel 3,
Oh,
and I walked in to do an interview, and the guy behind the camera went, "Oh my gosh, you're my sex dance and entertainment teacher." And I was like, and everybody in the studio kind of went,
They're like,
"The
"Let's
what
not talk
class?"
about this." They teach that?
Right, what's that? That was kind of cute.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And you came to Las Vegas kind of during the mob days.
Right.
So what was that like?
Yeah, it was really, I don't know if you've seen the movie Casino. That's when I worked at the Stardust. The Stardust was kind of a pivotal point for the mob. It's always so funny to me to call it the mob because that's such a trendy kind of word.
Right.
I don't know what you would call it, but they were just like good guys and friends to all of us. I've never worked somewhere where you were respected more or paid more, or it was really great. I mean, there were some girls that were into the dating scene and doing all that. I didn't really get into that. I was always into ballet and I've always taught at UNLV. I've been a part-time teacher here for 77, so for a really long time. So yeah, it was exciting, and they treated us really well. And I worked for Lefty Rosenthal, that's what the movie Casino is kind of about, his life.
Right. So you worked for a bunch of these casinos that are no longer
I know.
named these casinos.
I think that's why I like being at UNLV, because UNLV did not implode. I mean, it's like, I know sometimes it's old and it's worn out and we need to replace some things, but I love it here because it never changes. I've worked at the Stardust, which of course doesn't exist. It was imploded, and their Boyd Group is making 3 hotels with a hub casino. I worked at the MGM, but it wasn't the MGM you know now. That hasn't always existed. I worked at the MGM, which is now Bally's. I worked at the DI, which is now the Wynn Resorts. I worked at
a whole bunch of them.
It's so hard when I'm trying to tell the kids in class. I'm trying to say, well, I worked here. Well, it used to be, so it's just difficult.
Right.
So I don't really like going on the Strip because it's not like it was in the olden days. It was so exciting and classy and fun, and it was a whole different thing.
It's definitely changed throughout the years. A lot has grown and everything. So, so you've danced in all these shows here, and then you came to UNLV. Your students seem to love you, and you
That's
have
nice.
Yes.
I love them too. I really do love teaching my sex dance and entertainment class, because as a dance professor, you're kind of in just a controlled environment of people. You don't get to get out into the general population of UNLV. So being out in the general population, I get to talk to the students, and I can't tell you how inspired I am every class. I'm always sending the chair of my department some of the things that my students write about art versus entertainment. What do they think? Like their critical thinking skills, they give me hope for the future. So I love my students. I'm glad they like me back, but I really do love having the opportunity to interact with them.
Oh, that's wonderful. And tell us more about this Pilates class that you're doing. You have worldwide Pilates
studios. Yeah, so I used to have a lot of studios that I actually helped run in Korea, Japan, and Mexico, and of course here in town. But now in Asia and in the other countries, I sell my name, so I just sell my name.
Easier.
It's easier. I don't have to manage it as much, and I don't have to go as much. There was a time when I was going to Japan or Asia maybe 6 times a year, and having my full-time professor kind of working schedule was really tough, really tough. Because
Well,
I think my body no longer knows what time zone it's in. I've confused it so much that I just sleep when I can. So you got to be careful. I might fall asleep right now. I'm old. I'm 60, so you never know what might happen.
I'm not scary enough? What
No,
do you mean?
no. You're so
Like,
cute.
I'm
It's
not-
easy to smile while I'm talking to you.
Well,
and what's wrong with all these people? They didn't dress up.
They didn't dress up, you know what?
And you should have told
It's
me
okay,
I
they're-
would have dressed up.
They're party poopers. It's
They
okay.
are.
No, it's okay. We have a lot of fun on the show, and happy Halloween to you. I
Mhm.
just want to thank you so much for coming out
Have
to the show
fun in New
again.
York.
And after the break, we'll have a story informing families preparing for Halloween on Saturday on which houses to collect treats and which houses to avoid. And definitely thank you so much for coming, and stay tuned.
My goal is to be an on-air personality, and that's what my career is. It feels really incredible because I've been wanting to do something like this for my whole entire life since I was little.
I mean, it's an opportunity to express myself, get my voice out in public, and get heard for things that I feel strongly about.
This station helped me out a lot, gave me a lot of information I didn't know about a radio station in general.
I mean, it was really easy to get a show here. I took the classes and did the shadowing. They give you a lot of freedom to do what you like, and I feel like there's a lot of support in places you can get answers to.
It's just an incredible experience because I could take what I learned here and I could turn it into something more.
As far as Studio G, at first it looks overwhelming, and at first it looks like it's a lot of work, but I'll tell you what, it's the most beneficial class I've had at UNLV to date, without a doubt. You get to not only develop stories and work on your interviewing skills, your editing skills, and your shooting skills from a camera perspective, you get to work on all the equipment that's in the studio. So you're working on audio, you're working on directing, tech directing, you get to produce your own show. You can take a 30-minute newscast and make it your own. And that's really cool about Studio G. Like I said, a lot of it seems overwhelming at first, but it is by far the best class I've taken at UNLV since I've been here.
Your community's farmers market. Welcoming, lively, friendly. A place where neighbors and friends come together to celebrate their community. With over 50 vendors, organic, sustainable, fresh produce are available just for you. Support and buy local at Fresh 52.
A wintry blast in the Colorado mountains made roads a mess for drivers, but skiers excited for the upcoming season. Rollovers and at least half a dozen trucks spun out trying to traverse a wintry Interstate 70 through the Rocky Mountains. While some drivers weren't ready for winter, yet the Loveland ski area has been patiently waiting for it.
Still coming down pretty hard. There's more in the forecast, so bring it on. We're ready.
We've been here up to 2 weeks prior, and it was for Loveland's opening day almost 18 years ago.
Die-hard skiers and snowboarders say that they will stay in this snowy parking lot until ski season starts 9 a.m. Thursday. Resort staff at Loveland says it's expecting a huge crowd for opening day on Thursday.
With Halloween just around the corner, it is important that you take the proper precautions when planning your trick-or-treating route. Brian Ortega has the story.
With Halloween this Saturday, many families are gearing up for the festivities, but there are also people making sure they are out of sight for All Hallows Eve. In the state of Nevada, child sex offenders must stay in their homes and may not promote that they have candy in their house. They will be getting a knock on the door a few days before by local law enforcement to be reminded of the nature of the law. There are 1,800 registered child sex offenders in the city of Las Vegas. Wyatt Tomchek, a student here at UNLV, explains why he agrees with the Nevada law.
I think so, yeah, because I have two younger sisters, and you want to protect them, and those people like that have committed very heinous crimes, and you don't know what they're capable of, and they chose to do what they did, whether on purpose or an accident. It's still a consequence, and you got to live by that consequence.
In other states like California, they just repealed a law that required registered offenders to post on their doors a sign that reads "No trick or treating." Janice Bellucci, a sex offender law reform advocate, explains why it could make it worse to have signs posted.
I mean, of all days during the year to put a sign on the door, this is where people are normally out, creating mischief, but sometimes it gets worse than mischief. It gets more dangerous than mischief. And so we have, unfortunately, had registered citizens who've been murdered for no other reason because they're on the sex offender registry.
Tom Check does agree with Bellucci that having to post a sign does go a little far.
There are already websites that show who they are. They've already been kind of, shammed in the public, kind of like that could lead to people vandalizing them or, treating them wrong.
But the law does have mixed feelings from California residents.
You have to protect your children, and if that makes you a target, you shouldn't have committed the crime to start with.
Just remember to stay safe this Halloween. For Studio G, I'm Brian Ortega.
Reminding you again that when you are on your trick-or-treating route, whether with kids or with friends, if you come to a house that has their outside lights off and does not have candy near their front door, please go to the next house. So what are you doing for Halloween?
Well, I'm actually designated to take all the kids trick-or-treating, so that's some good advice for me. Just to make sure I stay safe.
Right, exactly. Are they telling you about costumes? Are they bothering you about that yet?
Tomorrow morning I'll be waiting in the long line that everybody goes
Right,
in.
everybody's going crazy about the costumes this year. Yeah.
That's all we have for you today here at Studio G.
Unfortunately, there will be no Friday magazine show tomorrow because of Nevada Day.
But we will be back on Tuesday with up-to-date stories. For Studio G, I'm Eddie Vargas.
And I'm Jordan Lorenzo. Have a great afternoon.